I'm Patricia Simpson. I'm a writer that's having a meltdown, and I'll tell you why. Last night, I went to a book event. It featured this local author who has written a book about local history, which I am very interested in. So I went to see what he was all about. And then he got to talking about his book and how he wrote it to raise awareness of the issues of local indigenous people, which I'm also very interested in. But the problem for me came about, and this is why I started to melt down slowly but surely, was he said that, some of his points of view characters in his novel were indigenous tribal members. And I thought, is that a problem? Because I have done that myself. 20 years ago, I wrote this book, which is probably my reader's favorite novel, Raven and Amber. And in it, I have a couple points of view characters who are indigenous tribal members. And if I were to write this book again now, it would be a totally different story, literally, because times have changed. Apparently, I wasn't the only one that was kind of bothered by this concept of, writing from another culture's point of view, because a member of the audience got up during the Q&A session and asked the writer, do you feel comfortable writing through another culture's viewpoint? And how do you think you were successful in doing this? And the writer said, well, I spent a lot of time researching. I think that I presented a respectful view of this culture. And he also spent time with members of this tribe. And I thought, okay, sounds like it might be an okay thing. Because in the end, his goal was to raise awareness of the issues that people of indigenous cultures are facing. And maybe he's doing a good thing. And I looked around at the audience and I saw mostly, I think exclusively, aging baby boomers who might never have picked up a book about indigenous cultures except for this older white writer. So I thought maybe he is doing the right thing, trying to get the audience, a wider audience, to recognize these issues. But is he the person, is he the voice for these issues? I just don't know. And that's why I'm having a meltdown, because writers do this all the time. We put ourselves in the shoes of our characters. We have to think like a teenager. We have to think like a serial killer. We have to think like, a person from Sumeria in 2000 BC. But are we doing a disservice to our readers? Because we don't really have an idea of what those people went through. And if we overlay our belief structures as modern people, our belief structures, our mores, what's going on in our heads, on these historical characters or characters that are not of our world, we do them a disservice. And the weird thing is that readers forget that these stories are fiction. They read them and they become the fabric of their world. Like, you read enough stories and they become kind of almost part of your belief structure. So that's why I'm having even more of a meltdown, because I think, okay, what is my belief structure? What what have I been fed all through the years that is completely false? And I got to thinking of all the stories in the past, and the Bible stories, the fables, the Disney movies that I watched as a kid, where little girls like me grew up thinking, oh, if only my prince will come, what will fulfill me in life is meeting a soulmate, that perfect man, and having children and finding love. And now I'm thinking, well, I've thought this for quite a while, but who wrote that story? I don't think it was a woman. So the fabric of my world was a fantasy of some old white guy. And I don't necessarily want to live an old white guy's fantasy. And I'm not sure if I want to write something that isn't true anymore. So the meltdown is, if I want to write words that are true, I have to write only of my own experiences and the people that I meet and the places that I go. But I can't put myself in the shoes of the people that I meet, because I really don't know their life story or their world, or even how they think deep inside, because most people don't say how they feel deep down, deep inside. And lately I've been really trying to broaden my knowledge of other cultures through a book group that I belong to. And a couple of writers recently that I've read have points of view of characters who are of another race to them. And it struck me as false. And they're great writers, but how can they know what it's really like? They think they do. They've read the facts, they've read other people's opinions, but I don't think it's fair. I think it's time to let cultures, the voices of those cultures, speak for themselves and tell their own stories. And we have to make sure we read those stories, because we're living in times where truth is hard to find, and we should be doing our best to honor it, I think. And that's why I'm having a meltdown, because I think it's going to be quite a while before I put pen to paper as I think this through, because it's really important to me. I hope you let me know how you feel about this in the comments below, and help me work through this process. Take care. Happy reading and happy writing. Bye-bye for now.